Joining us now, sports agent and founder of the DLE agency and Achilles PR, Doug Eldridge. Good morning, Doug.
Hey, Rogers, how are you?
Hey, this is tied to 4 upscale spas in the Baltimore area, and it was between 2012 to 2016. Very first question people are asking about, why did these women wait so long? Why 8 years afterwards?
Well, that's a real question. First of all, it's important to note that the police were never contacted, a criminal investigation was never launched, and charges were never filed. This is a slow roll to what seems like an inevitable civil suit, which is now subject to a statute of limitations. But it's also important to note, Tom, that it's a completely different evidentiary standard. In a criminal case, the bar is very high. It's beyond a reasonable doubt. By contrast, in a civil case, it's the preponderance of the evidence, meaning more probable than not. So a much lower standard. But the timing is in question.
NFL's separate investigation into this. They have a lot of different policies written about this. I mean, we see this here. So what would be going on at the same time? So you've got another investigation than the NFL. Do you think this would just be followed more with the NFL investigation? Is that where we'll see more of a stricter punishment?
Well, the NFL has some of the best investigators in the entire country. They're normally former federal law enforcement or prosecutors, you name it. They have an incredible team, and they don't take anything for granted. So they're already looking deeply into this. Remember, they're also on the heels of the Deshaun Watson situation, which also involved massage therapists. He ultimately had a substantial suspension, a $5 million fine, and moved teams, and his career's never really been the same. This is certainly surprising allegations for Tucker, but you have to remember, irrespective of the allegations, just to keep the conversation balanced, the accused always enjoys the presumption of innocence. And by contrast, his first step is obviously to affix sandbags, which is to say create a defensive posture. But I wouldn't be surprised moving forward if he doesn't shift to affixing bayonets. And by that, I mean go on the attack, because the truth is a bar from a defamation claim, but the onus is on the massage parlors to substantiate these allegations. And I think this is the beginning, and it's far from the end. But it's important to remember that allegations are not charges, and charges are not convictions. He has absolutely enjoyed a presumption of innocence during this entire process.
Quote from him: "I cannot allow false claims to go unchallenged. I cannot be any clearer. These allegations are false, incredibly hurtful to both me and, more importantly, my family." So you see that. I mean, you were mentioning some of the other issues that happened with Deshaun Watson. We know Robert Kraft, the Patriots owner. There's a lot of going on here in these allegations. What happens then next? Because, you know, just like the Duke lacrosse, it takes years later. It seems Duke lacrosse players were kind of ruined their whole career. They did not go into professional lacrosse. And then 20 years later, you find out the woman made the entire thing up. 6 women are making the accusations here.
Right, and I don't want to denigrate any of the veracity of the allegations. You know, any allegation should be given due credence and due investigation. That's our legal system. But again, balancing the proverbial scales of justice, Tucker is simultaneously afforded the presumption of innocence unless and until that evidence comes forward and really compiles a compelling case. Now, in terms of the NFL's role in this, they've been burned by this before. So the fact that they issued that vanilla blanket standard, we're looking into it, we were not privy to this prior to the article running, they've already got their hands in the mud digging into this and really trying to get to the veracity and the meat on the bone, so to speak. In terms of Tucker, I really do think you're going to start seeing a more aggressive posture, because this does destroy careers. And you mentioned from the outset, it was years later, the authorities were never notified. Several of the proverbial plaintiffs are now assigned to the same attorney, so it looks like it's slow rolling toward a civil suit. I fully expect Tucker to affix the bayonets and fight this. And that's not me putting my thumb on the scale for guilt or innocence. It's just saying, having worked through this process and numerous iterations, I expect that to be the case.
Yeah, as a PR specialist and also sports agent, Doug Eldridge, thank you for your expertise.
Always good to see you, Tom.
Good to see you, too.